Aussie, 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 angry, 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 Aussie, 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 angry, 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 angry.
Hello. Good evening. Who's ready here? Shieldsy. Well, that was a long time ago you posted that, Shieldsy. All masked up. No idea where you are now. Hello, Fox. It's a Tuesday, start of a new week of live streaming. As we're all progressively under restrictions, blah. Abigail, that type of day, eh? Yeah, Shieldsy, you tried to tell people they should be wearing masks. Tell, what's his name? Bob Catter got caught in the airport not wearing a mask because he's a rugged individual. So, like Barnaby Joyce, I assume he's going to be fined. Yeah, shit changes real fast. Plans are a thing that you can't really have these days, aren't they? It's wild and crazy times we live in. So I'm going to have a drink with a great big bit of clear ice in it. It's like mostly ice. That glass is 90% ice. Abigail, had your second Pfizer and the symptoms suck. Yeah, there can be a bit of fucking blowback like that. Hello, Toby, by the way. I'm at the halfway mark because there's 12 weeks between jabs for AstraZeneca, and I got a text today from them saying, because they keep doing follow-ups, which is good, and it's like, hey, it's been 6 weeks since you had your jab. How you going? Any side effects? And I didn't have any past the first night when I got weird and shivery and weak and didn't sleep all that well. And so I was a bit tired the next day, but then I had another night's sleep and I was fine. Luke, big question. Is Australia fucked? It probably depends which way you mean. Do you mean are we likely to end up with lockdowns nationwide? This ought to be a goddamn wake-up call. Yeah, it's just astonishing how badly the federal government has fucked up both the vaccine rollout and border quarantine, because those are the two reasons we're having problems. People coming in from overseas and spreading infection from hotel quarantine, and an absolutely shithouse rollout of vaccine. But yeah, so it probably depends what you mean when you say is Australia fucked. Yeah, I don't know. I think the New South Wales outbreak's probably going to get worse before it gets better. It's probably true of everyone that's had an outbreak. That's what happens. It spends a couple of weeks getting worse, and then it slowly gets better. Unless you had a really, really, really bad outbreak like Victoria's second wave, where it took months to get better. Hopefully that won't happen to New South Wales or anywhere else now. Fuck me, that's strong. A very boozy, clarified cocktail I made today. I didn't think I put that much absinthe in it, and it tastes really strongly of absinthe. James, not being under her gaze personally. What's my opinion of Palachek? I honestly don't pay that much attention to Queensland politics, I have to admit. So, yeah, I don't really feel qualified to say anything because I haven't been paying that much attention. So you're glad you none of the places you were visiting were exposure sites? Well, that is good. That is good. Yeah, Toby, it's reasonable to say the federal government's fucked, but I mean, it's just, there's just going to be lockdowns because nobody. Well, okay, rewind a little bit. A lot of the very loud right-wing talking heads in the media, particularly in the business world, are all for thousands of people dying, being sacrificed on the altar of capitalism. It seems even Morrison, even the conservative politicians have gone, oh, we're now quite convinced that public opinion will not tolerate thousands and thousands of deaths. So we have to drop this cavalier, everything should be open attitude and fucking do something, because if we let it run riot and thousands of people die unnecessarily, the electorate are not going to like that. It seems to have taken quite a while to sink in with the Federal Liberal Party. So why does this fucking webcam always go back to autofocus? And I feel like I'm out of focus. Where am I? So I've just got to fuck around with focus, go really out of focus. And now the fucking slider won't work. In focus. Anywho. Oh, God. I think I'm just tired and my eyes are fucked, honestly. Shits, you just shop on Monday morning. Staying at home since then. Wise choice, my friend. Wise choice. Man, this one's really, it tastes really strong. Maybe it needs to be had with sody. It's just a really strong flavor. It's basically got a lot of whiskey and a little bit of absinthe in it. I'm really tasting the absinthe. I suppose I'm tasting the whiskey too. My own blend of whiskies from my infinity bottle, in fact. So, actually, how many shots are in that altogether? How many did I put in? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's a really strong drink. It's mostly booze. Oh, yes, Abigail, I got to spend a day with a lady friend on Sunday. Really amazing special day. Shopping, art, cuddled, all the girly things. That sounds like a good day. That sounds like a very good day. I'm glad you got to have a good day like that. That sounds pretty goddamn good. Plus, this is one of my retro shirts, very sort of Art Deco style. This one's abstracted enough. You've got these little things on it that are basically really abstract representations of birds. Kind of look like martini glasses. But if you're abstracted, James, you think it's a true Australian drink? Just a really strong one? It is really strong. Because there's hardly anything that's not booze in it. There's a teeny... My God, I'm just realizing how strong this is. There's a little bit of citrus sugar syrup in there. Oh, and there's the whey from the milk. So it's a little bit watered down. Really boozy. Oh my God, Abigail, you're still going. Couple of boxes of magic cards left to sort through. Got a metric shit ton of cards you're going to give away to anyone who wants them. Well, that's the big call out. Who wants some free Magic the Gathering cards? I managed to give away some stuff that was taking up room here. The old sort of kitchen mixer, because the young Mr. Angry for his birthday wanted a new one with more features. So there you go. It's a reasonable birthday wish. So and some old cake molds, really high quality metal cake molds. And yeah, the Twitter follower said, yeah, I'll have them. So I just met him and said, take them, use them in good health. So yeah. Sometimes you drink because it's a strong drink. Yeah. The little bit of syrup and whey is going to save me from alcoholism. Okay. Yeah. The next ones won't be as strong as it. And I think this is the second half of it. There's a whole fucking second half of it, which I might have on Thursday night. I think I'll have it with sody. I'll just remember that that one might be better with sody. Ian, a lockdown in Brizzy. How's that treating you? I mean, Brizzy's limited outbreak and Premier Belichick acted really quickly. So hopefully your lockdown won't last as long as the New South Wales one, because I think that one's going to last a while, because I think it's the spread and the cases are going to get worse before they get better, because they piss-farted around for too long. As you're saying, like, it's what we've learned from the early stages. Waiting one day to actually put a lockdown in place can add a week to how long the lockdown needs to run. And Sydney really waited 3 days too long for the lockdown. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I wouldn't wish the extended lockdown that we had in Melbourne on anyone, like really quite strict lockdown for a couple of months. Not great. I don't even remember how long was our lockdown. Was it 3 months? I feel like it was 3 months. Was it a year? I don't know. It's like halfway through 2021. How the fuck? Time doesn't mean anything. Time doesn't mean anything. And you came away from a small holiday. Oh, nothing to buy. Yeah, the panic buying shits me. It shits me. Okay, the first time in particular, it was kind of forgivable because no one knew what was going to happen. The second time, okay, you're panicky, but we learned the first time the supply chain's fine. But after like the first 2 times, whenever there was any sort of lockdown or restriction and people panic buy it just makes me fucking angry. It's like, okay, you fucking know that this isn't necessary. You know for a fact this isn't necessary. We have seen conclusive, repeated evidence that this shit isn't fucking necessary. And you're just being fucking dickholes and you're making things difficult when they don't have to be difficult. 19, you finish your Bundy rum red in 2 days. Nice. That's a holiday. Gavy had a planned trip to Sydney next month. Yep, get a refund on the flight, which was paid with credit from a previously refunded flight. Oh, yeah, Abigail, that right-wing thing of not saying lockdown for New South Wales is fucking bizarre. Absolutely fucking bizarre. Shields, yeah, the state of origin was an interesting one. A lot of people in one place. We'll see what happens. James on Facebook had reports from friends, family down in Victoria. Did you notice a blasé attitude towards social distancing and mask wearing? What, now? We don't really have that many limits at the moment. Always wear masks inside. Oh, yeah. No, Ian, having lockdowns coinciding with school holidays, not great. Not great, definitely. It's nothing about it's fucking great. I mean, Jesus, look around the world. It's it just fucking sucks, with millions of people dying and just shit being fucked up everywhere. Oh, James, you're talking about back in our 3-month lockdown. No, I didn't notice a blasé attitude towards social distancing and mask wearing. I saw 2 reactions. The overwhelming one was the vast majority of people doing the right thing. And there was a small number of fuckwits who wanted to, and these were like QAnon Trump-loving fuckwits, totally disconnected from reality, who wanted to make a big scene about it. And I laughed every time I saw the cops smack one of them. because fuck it. Cops are always smacking incredibly peaceful left-wing demonstrators and getting away with it. So when these cunts were getting their head kicked in when they thoroughly fucking deserved it, I laughed, okay? I just fucking laughed. Ian, you suffer with masks, hyperventilate, going, oof. Dude, I do not envy you. Like a genuine reason for not working well with masks, I do not envy you. I don't like them. I'd much prefer to not wear them. But yeah, if you have a genuine problem with them, I do not envy you. That fucking sucks. Yeah, Shields, it does come down to money, man. Oh yeah, Abigail, dick nosing. I fucking hate that. You're at High Point. Yeah, I see that all the time. Whenever I go to the shops, I fucking see it all the time. So you got people not social distancing you. You say, please show some respect. And if they say, okay, I don't have COVID, I look at them and say, but how do you know I don't? I did see someone post a funny thing on social media the other day. It was in America. I got into a lift with there's all these other guys in there, none of them wearing masks. And they sort of why are you wearing the mask? And so he took off the mask and went, finally, some real people who don't care that I have COVID. And he said it was a real weird elevator ride after that. So I was like, yeah, fuck anyone who does any sort of machismo thing about masks. It's like, fuck you, you fucking fuck. So, yes, I'm a big believer in it. But yeah, if you have a genuine problem, and there's a spectrum of reasons that you like genuinely can't wear a mask for an extended period. And yeah, when you have a genuine reason, it's like you're given a bad name by these fuckwits who just make up things because they're pieces of fucking shit. I think if I was to enforce things with people not wearing masks, and if someone said I have an exemption, I'd say a QAnon catchphrase to them, and if they recognized it, I'd assume they were lying, and I'd kick the shit out of them, like, trust the plan. Ian, getting a certificate from a doctor would be a good idea because, dude, you got a genuine reason why it's difficult, and that should be respected. Like, there's just these fuckwits be making your life difficult because the dead shits who had their protests and whatnot in Melbourne last year, I hate them so fucking much. They're such contemptible fucking scum. Just filth. They're just filth. Shizzy, how are we going to get people to not be too close? Say from a hot zone, move away fast. Ian, you're generally antisocial, great at social distance. That's good. I do remember a joke from back when Melbourne was locked down, or Victoria was locked down, but Melbourne particularly. There was like a meme with a picture of a family at a restaurant. And, everyone's smiling, placing the order, and the waitress is there taking the order, and one of the families says to the waitress, "We've just come from Melbourne. What should we get?" And the waitress goes, "The fuck out of here," which I thought was funny. I could laugh at that, even while we were locked down and people were giving us a hard time. I still thought that was funny. What's that music over it? Red Australian flags with mismatched star points. The dumbass anti-mask flag. Oh, okay. I'll take your word for that. I didn't know that one. It's so strong, that drink. Jesus. Lucky the only place I'm going to. Ooh, and I got my insulated lunch container today. This thing I ordered online. Mega Leech gave me the idea. Like, I was trying to think, because I make my clear ice, sexy clear ice, with insulated drink holders like this. And of course, with the drink things, they're always cylindrical. the drink holders are always cylindrical, so you get cylindrical ice, which I don't mind because most of my glasses are cylindrical, so that's fine. But I'm kind of like, oh, it's like cubed ice is traditional. So is there a way for me to make squared ice? And so I was asking people, has anyone seen like a insulated coffee mug like this, but it's square? No one had. But Megaleech came up with the idea, what about an insulated lunchbox? And yeah, and I ordered it online and it arrived today. And so it's actually in the freezer at the moment. I've got some more of this cylindrical ice in the freezer that I thought would be ready to take out this stream, but I think it's not quite frozen. And if you take it out too early, it's all fucked. So I'm going to leave it there till tomorrow morning. Hey, nobody. How's it going? Oh, yeah, Shieldsy. Well, it's not Victoria number plates you have to worry about. It's New South Wales number plates. Oh, yeah, Ian, I've heard rental and you're buying and renting in southeast Queensland's fucking abominable now. Nice. Oh, yes, I saw you posting a thing, Safi. You got your first Pfizer vaccine. Nice. 6 weeks and you get your second jab. And Music Gravity, of an air traffic controller who moved to Queensland in March this year. A lot of people have been, apparently. A lot of people. So the rental and housing market generally in southeast Queensland is fucked-o. Yes, nobody. New South Wales is looking in a tough spot at the moment. It's. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Oh, Christ, Ian, you've been looking for a place for 12 months. Shit. Safa, why are you talking about number plates? Because in people in states they're not meant to be. It's like 50 people got kicked out of a hotel in Canberra because they were all from New South Wales and they weren't allowed to be there. And yeah, they were just hiding out from New South Wales restrictions. It's like, people are just so fucked. Honestly. People are so self-centered. Oh, and I should give you all an update because when Abigail was here on Friday, we were talking about going to do Abigail's birthday stream, her place on Friday. It's now going to be Saturday because I forgot in the last lockdown here in Melbourne, that's when young Mr. Angry was going to have his 21st birthday party and it had to get postponed, and it was postponed to this Friday. So I had forgotten that. But yeah, so I'm actually going to be here on Friday, but the plan is to do Abigail birthday stream at her place on Saturday night. And yes, Ian, if everyone did the right thing, we wouldn't have these problems, but people don't do the right thing. Yeah, that might be a thing, Shieldsy. If the people down south should start heading north, maybe go west. So if you're in a border bubble, you can go to certain parts of Victoria without a permit. Yeah, a joint party, Shieldsy. I don't think Abigail wants to be here with a bunch of 21-year-olds. But no, then I get to have a party on Friday night, a party on Saturday. Well, okay. The party's going to be in there. I think I will do a stream. I'll do a stream from here because I also promised to make them some drinks. So it's probably going to be hella fucking noisy on Friday night. Hella noisy. Shieldy, Safa needs a green permit for Bonnie Doon for football in 8 degrees Celsius. Well, good luck to you. That is not a thing that sounds appealing to me. Yes, I haven't done the weekend sports thing since I was about 18, actually, to play Aussie rules. And it was fun, but it could be very friggin' punishing as well. So, this drink's better as it gets diluted. Definitely, I think for the rest of this on Thursday night, I'll have it with soda. I think it will taste better. Sorry, James. That's pretty funny. Never seen anyone that grey pull off hella so inconspicuously. Of the many things I don't do, act my age is one of them. So if I got pulled over by cops, I'm not sure what that means. Would don't give you AB around 2 p.m. Anyway, not drinking alcohol. I'm not drinking a lot. This is a strong drink, but like I said, I only drank half the strong drink. If I wanted to get drunk, I'd drink the rest of the strong drink, but I'm not doing that. So, I'll probably put something in. Oh, one of the Archie Roses, probably. I have some premix bottle cocktails that I bought. And they're nowhere near as strong as that. They're very tasty. Safa, no, I've not really looked at Windows 11. I've seen some rumblings about it. Does it need really over-the-top systems to run it? Because that sounds like the sort of dumb fucking thing Microsoft would do. Bloat out their it's just a fucking operating system. The operating system shouldn't be bloated. But that's fucking Microsoft for you. This is me assuming that what you're about to say is you need a pretty high end. In fact, why don't look it up? I'll do a thing. Windows 11 auto completes to requirements. Okay, Windows 11 minimum system requirements. I released an insider build just yesterday. Get fucked with your bloat. And then they don't fucking answer it. Windows 11 is designed to be compatible with apps 1 gigahertz, 2 core, 4 gig memory, 64 gig storage. Using the principles above, we are confident that devices running on Intel 8th generation processors, AMD Zen 2, as well as Qualcomm 7 and 8 series, will meet our principles around security and reliability. As we release Windows Insiders, I don't think they're saying. Typical fucking Microsoft. A whole fucking page of waffle without. So minimum requirements, 1.4 gigahertz single core, 2 gigabytes RAM, 15 gigabytes storage. Yeah, I don't know. Ian, I vaguely remember Windows Me. Yes. Could be worse, could be easy. Mary. Hello, Hellion. Hello, Kirsten. Nobody. I believe you are correct that Microsoft said there wouldn't be another version of Windows after Windows 10. Shock horror, Microsoft lied. Oh, and evening, Greg. If I didn't say good evening, might have missed you come in. I've ever side-by-sided myself with Jack Black. I would love the opportunity, actually, to be side by side with Jack Black. I believe we have some physical similarities. I think we're about the same age too. And Middle Maniac Matt, hello. If I didn't already say hello to you, Jack Black. Age. How old is Jack Black? 51. He's a little bit younger than me, but we're basically the same age. Oh, and Kyle Gass is 60, so I'm halfway between them. Some of his COVID lockdown videos were funny. Like he grew like really long hair and big beard. And then there was the video where he shaved it all. Got his son to help him shave it. Abigail, yeah, you're confirming. Microsoft did say Windows 10 would be the last version of Windows ever. Yeah. And I agree, Matt. Jack Black does seem pretty wholesome. So he's one of those people that, yeah, oh, please don't tell me anything because so many celebrities are fucking garbage to the point of criminality. And she's like, oh, I kind of like that person. I don't want to know. I don't know. I don't want to know what horrible shit they get up to. Toby, what's the longest my hair and beard have been? This is close to the longest my hair's been. Might have been longer a little bit. Actually, no, it was longer in. It got longer in my sort of mid-late 20s. YouTube will show you when the longest my beard was. A couple of years ago, my beard was bigger than this. Not by much, but it was. A couple of years ago, my beard was bigger than this. You can judge for yourself on YouTube. The longest beard I have on YouTube is the longest beard I've had. This is not quite the longest hair I've had. Not that one. Try this one. Archie Rose's Cloud Century cocktail. One of the reasons I like the Archie Rose bottles is they've got quite a solid base on them. Like, it'd be quite useful in hand-to-hand combat. Like, when it's empty, holding it like that, you'd fucking crack someone's skull if you hit them over the head with it. Fuck that shit up. But, of course, that also makes the bottle quite stable. The heavy base makes the bottle quite stable, and you're very unlikely to knock it over. Which, you know, when you're dealing with alcoholic beverages, huge plus if you're not going to knock it over. I've heard Americans who've like seen the bottles I have stuff on my YouTube channel. Like all the Australian booze bottles are round shouldered. Like that's an Applewood bottle with the round shoulders. This is a Starwood bottle with the round shoulders. This is another Starwood bottle with the round shoulders. There's the Archie Rose bottle with the round shoulders. I find it a little bit funny that that's such a common style of bottle in Australia. Toby, the longest yours been is what they are presently. Haven't shaved for about 10 months. Haven't had a haircut for 12 or 13 years. The longest I've grown my hair was it probably no haircut for a year or so. I had a trim a couple months ago. So I've had one trim in the last year or so. And I'll probably have one tomorrow, actually. Going to be in the city. If my man who does my hair is open and has time, because he said just come in a couple months, we'll keep it healthy, trim the edges, maybe just even up the beard a bit. It's a bit wild and shaggy on the sides. I wouldn't mind that getting evened up. No, but yes, yours is the longest it is now. Hasn't been cut in 20 years. Matt, I'm not going to rock the pony. I might. Like I say, I am growing it. All my dude was doing, he said, no, grow it long. That's good. Well, just every couple months, keep it healthy. Trim the ends. Make sure it's healthy. I want to have beautiful hair. So, probably, who knows? Probably, ultimately, long enough for a ponytail. If I hadn't have had I could do a really small ponytail now. It's you can't see it, but I'm bunching up my hair in what would be a very small ponytail. And if I hadn't had that trim a couple months ago, it would of course be longer, as would the beard. But I did, so there you go. Toby, you think you've had 2 or 3 trims in 12 or 13 years? Nice. James, let your ends go splitting. Growth stagnates, goes ready. You're doing it the right way. Yeah. So, yeah, no, this dude knows what he's doing. He's going to look after it. Oh, wow, Matt. You used to have long hair like nobody, but you recently got the Melbourne mullet. Look out. Oh, man, that's nice. That's a much simpler, lighter drink than my own beverage. What are the flavors again? It's hanging here. This is vodka based. They're saying vodka, vermouth, yuzu, hazelnut, and citrus. Very citrusy, and I think I can. The hazelnut makes it taste kind of desserty. Yeah. Okay. No, that's really good. Very light. Very light. As opposed to this, which had pretty fierce flavors for a clarified cocktail, because clarified cocktails usually tone the flavors right down. And I was surprised at how strong that one tasted. But this is what happens. The world is a strange and mysterious place, and weird things happen. I was just thinking, do we have any news? 3 Australian cities locked down in fight against Delta variant. That's international media. And then news.com, Sydney, Darwin, Perth, Queensland in COVID lockdown as outbreak spreads. So I wonder if the federal government can be smacked into any sort of progress with getting more doses of Pfizer. Now they've fucking scared everyone from AstraZeneca. Don't be scared. Yes, there is a very small rate of complication with the AstraZeneca. And it sounds scary, but in real terms, and we have these in actual numbers from what's happened. This isn't hypothetical statistics. This is actual real numbers. It's been like 1 in 100,000 doses has resulted in someone needing hospital treatment. And the deaths have been like less than 1 in 2 million doses. And not even exaggerating, statistically, you're more likely to be killed by lightning than by that. You are no shit more likely to be hit by a car and killed. You're more likely to choke to death on a meal than you are to die from AstraZeneca. People are so fucking shit at risk assessment. Nice. Kirsten's hair reaches the top of your butt. Guy's got nothing. I don't know. Nobody might. Not 100% sure, because I've never asked him to show me his butt. So not 100% sure how long it goes. Yes, Matt, encouraging people under 40. If you missed it, anyone can basically go to a GP and say, hey, I would like to get an AstraZeneca vaccine. and GP will talk to you about it. And unless there's a compelling reason not to, they will avail you of some AstraZeneca. And my wordy, being vaccinated is so much better than being not vaccinated. Because the whole not vaccination is what's fucking this up. Sorry, Matt, you're eating right now. Shouldn't have brought up choking to death, should I? It's probably not going to happen to you. It doesn't happen much. But I mean, fucking hell, people, I don't know if there are cases of it in Australia, but I know there are multiple cases in the US every year of people being killed by their dishwasher. Namely, they foolishly, again, and then when I heard this and I verified it was a true story, kids, sharp knives in dishwashers, in the holders, point down. You do not have the point of the knife sticking up. They go point down in the holder because there are multiple deaths every year in the US from someone slipping in the kitchen and the dishwasher doors open and the tray's out and the knives are pointing out. They slip and fall in the kitchen and land on the fucking knives. I'm not joking. There are multiple deaths every year in the US, people being killed by the dishwasher. That's a thing that actually really happens. Oh, 2 observations from Abigail. Chances of you dying from AstraZeneca is much high. Yes, and that's why you talk to a GP. Point B, you would also be happy to reach at the top of Kirsten's butt. And yeah, that's why I say with the GP, if you're whatever age you are, you want to get the AstraZeneca vaccine, or you just don't want to wait for Pfizer, you go and talk to a GP, talk through your health history, and if there's no compelling reason to not give you the AstraZeneca, you get it. So, but there are absolutely cases where a GP might go, yeah, there's a couple of factors with you that actually raise the risk factor, so not a great idea. So, yeah, but that's why you talk to a GP, talk through your health history, and you find out if it's a good idea. Yeah, Matt, that dishwasher one is wild. When I first heard it, I thought it was bullshit. And so I verified it, and that's a real thing that happens. I mean, apparently, at least one person was killed by a metal straw. You know how we're being coerced to not use plastic straws, to use reusable straws, a lot of which are metal. There's a case of someone in the US with their drink with a metal straw sticking out, and they slipped and fell and like spiked the metal straw through their eye socket straight into their brain. Killed them. But damn. Oh, I don't know if anyone remembers. Oh, bye, Toby. Thanks for dropping by. I don't know if anyone remembers the Far Side comics. Were very big in the 90s, 80s and 90s, I think. Gary Larson's Far Side. They were very funny. And there was one I always remember was like God sitting at his computer watching the world. And along with all the function keys was a key labeled Smite. And there's on his screen is this guy walking down the street, and like a big safe has like fallen off a building, is about to land on his head, and the caption was God hits the Smite key. It's like, I don't believe in a God, I'm not superstitious, but every now and then when you hear about someone dying in just this millions to one shot, and you just go like, what the fuck? How did that happen? That is so fucking weird. Just every now and then there's a death that's so surreal and so weird. You're just left going, ugh, what was that about? Yes, nobody, you hit the nail on the head there. Having the knives point down sounds like common sense. That's why there's such a problem with it, because common sense, not all that common. Yeah. Dude, what are the other weird? Oh, just falling off the toilet and hitting their head. Sleeping at bathrooms, the most dangerous place in the house, just because it's slippery. It's more dangerous than the kitchen. Kitchen has its own dangers, but household accidents, way more of them happen in the bathroom just because it tends to be slippery in the bathroom. And hard edges. It's slippery with hard edges. Yeah. And while it's important to be cognizant of the risks that exist, like with the AstraZeneca vaccine, for instance, again, unless you fall into a particular health category, the risks are so low. And yes, it appears statistically a higher risk in people definitely under 40, maybe under 50, maybe under 60, which is a bit surreal, honestly, that it's more dangerous for younger people. But that's got to do with this whole clotting syndrome. But yeah, on the scale of risks, it's fucking infinitesimal. Honestly, wouldn't be any compensation to you if you did die because of it, and you'd be going, oh, well, that was 1,000,000 to 1 shot, and it got me. Damn. But I also find it weird how this huge crossover between people who are saying COVID's not serious because it only kills 1 in 100 people, and a 1 in 2 million risk is too high. It's like the Venn diagram of people who said COVID wasn't serious because it only kills 1 in 100 people, and people who say the 1 in 2 million risk of AstraZeneca is too high. That Venn diagram is almost a circle. It's absolutely surreal. Nobody even not managed to fall on the toilet yet. Good. Passed out on it once or twice and collapsed in the bathroom a few times. That's a thing that happens. People do that. Yeah. Was that a health thing? Because with a lot of people, that passing out and collapsing on the bathroom floor is a drinking thing. I got this kind of vibe that it might have been that's a health thing with you. See, my initial impulse when you said, yeah, man, you have too many, then I realized, oh no, I think you're talking about it being a health thing. Which is why kids, yeah, it's a health thing. Yeah, see, kids don't jump to conclusions. I was thinking myself, when nobody said that, I was thinking myself, yeah, it's like, yeah, if I fell off the toilet or passed out on the bathroom floor, and I haven't actually done it, but it would be from drinking too much. That would probably be the end result of a Friday night live stream gone out of control. Me passing out on the bathroom floor, but then I suddenly remembered, no, I think nobody means from a health perspective. So yeah. And that would probably really suck to explain to medical people who didn't know you as well. Like if you did, say, fall off the toilet or pass on the bathroom floor, and particularly if you hit your head, and trying to explain to a medical person, I passed out in the bathroom and hit my head, and they got all judgy, and you go, I wasn't drinking. Medical staff generally are very good, but they can occasionally be very judgy and very wrong. They're humans. Humans are flawed. Oh, god damn. Nobody, yeah. Go down, hit everything on the way down. Yeah. Okay, and you're assessing that based on the mess around you when you come to. My only similar one, that is a story that I tell occasionally of the old blog TV days. And I don't know, I think this happened about 10 years ago. It's a long time ago. Somewhere between 6 and 10 years ago anyway. I was left to my own devices because Mrs. Angry was offered a work training thing for the weekend. So, of course, I got fucking shit-faced drunk. I don't think any of the offspring were in the house that weekend. And I was just like fucking hammered on a live stream. And I was watching videos and doing drunken commentary. And I woke up the next morning and I was kind of fine. I was slightly under the weather, but it wasn't really a hangover. It was just like, oh, okay. But then I went, I don't remember going to bed. How did I get to bed? And I went into the bathroom, and medicine cabinet door was open and stuff was thrown around because I was looking for headache tablets before I went to bed. And I went, oh, well, that was pretty good. I don't remember going to bed, but apparently I was together enough to trash the bathroom and take some headache tablets before I went to bed. And yeah, so then I sheepishly went on social media and said, was anyone watching the stream? I don't remember how it ended. How did it end? I'm worried. They just said, oh no, you got quieter and quieter until you didn't say anything for an extended period. And then without warning, you said something like, I'm in a fucking bed, and closed my laptop. Fucked up. Oh, James, you heard from Scrubs, vasovagal syndrome. You can pass out when you poop. Oh, you can die when you poop. That happened to one of the guys who was under a lot of stress in The Sopranos. I was trying to remember that fucking Goodfellas TV show, The Sopranos. He was under a lot of stress and constipated, and he popped a blood vessel in his brain while trying to poop, and died on the toilet. Damn. Also, there are some very weird medical conditions out there. I feel like I want to... Oh, see, no, Shieldsy, Mrs. Angry would not have been happy with me trashing the bathroom. Like I said, fortunately, she was away for the weekend, so I had time to clean it up. And yeah, then after that, I think I just sat on the lounge all day, watching TV, and sort of nursing a Pepsi and going, I'm not really hungover, but I really don't want to do anything. I just want to sit here. Like slightly upset tummy, a slight headache. That was it. Oh, nobody get there. Yeah, James is on Facebook. In case you don't know, James, the vast majority of commenters are on YouTube. So the thing, yes. So nobody is actually, you have actually passed out from a gut cramp after a seemingly ordinary bowel movement. Wow. There you go. There you go. Oh. All right, I'm going to put this one back. Who remembers that 90s dance pop track Freestyler by Bomb Funk MCs? It's a weird film clip with a kid, looks like a white kid, could be mixed race. That he has a huge blonde fro, and he's on a subway, and he finds out his MP3 player, the rewind and whatnot, makes people rewind. It's been stuck in my head. Anyway, the reason I bring it up is because Freestyler by Bomb Funk MCs has been stuck in my head for a little while. So nobody yet hates you, your gut hates you. It's fun. But look, it's good to be philosophical and say better off than many. So, oh wow, Kirsten, that song came up on your playlist today. There you go. So some cosmic synchronicity going on. James, you gathered after you subbed on YouTube, AZ Code Grey came out. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, and you got the Facebook notification. That's fine. Yeah. So, yeah, and I'm also restreaming to Twitch. Occasionally, some Twitch comments will pop up as well. Oh, God. Oh, wow, Shieldsy, that's worrying. That cork pop with the sound a kidney stone makes. That is a really, really disturbing concept that you've put into my head there. So, is it nobody really saying better off than many? An old episode of Faulty Towers where Basil's complaining about everything and he's got this Irish tradesman in doing something in the house. And Basil's just complaining about how shit his life is. And the guy goes, "Oh, come on, Mr. Faulty. There's always someone who's worse off than you." And Basil goes, "Really? I'd love to meet him. I could do with a good laugh." And it's like, oh, goddamn. So nobody mention of MP3 player controls reminds you of the movie Click. Oh, yes. It's a Adam Sandler movie. Gets a universal remote that controls time, pause, fast forward, rewatch. Yeah. I did watch that movie. Yeah, I half remember it. I think we're supposed to learn a lesson from it. I love because the ice takes the color out. You can see the string's actually quite green. It's quite green, but it does not quite so green with the ice in there. Tastes like sour green apple warheads. What's in this one? Dry gin, muscat grape, green apple, cucumber, jasmine, and basil. Or basil, as Americans insist on calling it. But yes, I think it tastes like a sour green apple warhead. In a good way. Yes, the iceberg that could take out Clive Palmer's Titanic too. It is a very big piece of ice. Made from, I'll show you. It's in here. Because I'm making some more. Frozen in this, the double wall coffee cup. Yeah, I don't think it's ready. I'm going to check it in the morning. It takes a couple of days for that to freeze. Probably take at least a day for my lunchbox one, but it's got a much sort of bigger open space for freezing, so it might freeze more quickly. My theory with these double wall coffee cups, why they take so long for the ice to freeze, because it can only freeze from the top down. It's such a small freezing area. But the lunchbox, which I'm doing the first experiment with now, has a much bigger freezing area. So I think it might freeze soon. James, which idea are you stealing, by the way? I made a whole video showing people how to do the ice thing, because I think it's a good idea if that's what you're talking about. Ashoka, you just looked it up. Bomb Funk MC's freestyler, 244 million views on YouTube. Close enough to 250 million views on YouTube. Wow. And because if it was monetized, because you get about $1 per 1,000 views on YouTube, then the record company would have made $250,000 from that. So yeah. Oh yeah, Kirsten. This was because I was trying to, because I like the ice from these. It's always cylindrical, which I don't mind because glasses tend to be cylindrical. But I thought, oh, can I get cubes, or at least cube-ish things? And I was wondering, are there those coffee cups that are squares? Anyone seen it? And Megalich actually suggested there are insulated lunchbox. So I ordered this online, an insulated lunchbox, this big sort of, rectangular prism. And it arrived today. And I've just put it in the freezer. And so I feel ice. So it'll be this big rectangular prism that I could cut into some cubes, maybe. An experiment. We'll see if it works. It may, I think it'll work, but it might not. If it doesn't, I've got a pretty good insulated lunchbox. We'll see. Oh, James. Okay, yeah, no, the ice idea. I've been sharing that far and wide, the ice idea. My one little tip, because it can, like I said, it can take a long time. Like it can take 2 days to freeze all the way down. My one tip is to sort of check, and when it gets what the directional freezing does is push all the impurities and air bubbles down as it freezes. So you only get the impurities in the very last bit of ice. But what's even better is if you get the timing right and you're like, I can actually see the air bubbles at the bottom and it's actually still liquid right at the bottom. So if I tip it out now, and it can be really frustrating because I think Shields is talking about the sucking sound of ice coming out, because this isn't flexible, so you can't squeeze the ice coming out. So all you gotta do is like put it upside down on something that it can drain on, and when it defrosts enough, it'll slide out. It does make a fairly interesting sort of sucking sound, and but if it freezes solid, the end bit will be like a normal ice cube. It'll have all the air bubbles, have the impurities, and you got to cut that off. But if you accurately pick when that last bit is just starting to freeze and the impurities are visible, and if you get it out then, the end bit will still be water, and all you have to do is trim a bit that started to form. It's way easier than trying to cut off the impurities. But you've also got to be sure of when you do it, because I got it wrong once. I thought, that looks frozen and it's so clear. I'm getting out now. And it looked clear because it was mostly still water and it wasn't frozen. And I fucked it up by doing that. I kind of went, it came out and was like, that's all still water. And I put it back, but it was kind of too late and I mixed it up and all the impurities were everywhere and I fucked up that batch of ice. But I don't know if any of that explanation made any sense, but it's a fun thing to do. Nobody, you're not into the dance music. That's okay. I like a bit of variety. I was playing a bit of Run the Jewels today, hip-hoppy, American hip-hop. And I don't listen to a lot of American hip-hop. I listen to more Australian hip-hop. But Run the Jewels, pretty goddamn good. Oh yeah, Kirsten, and an ice stamp. And there are some places where you can get designs custom made. And sometimes they say it's for a wax seal or whatever, but you can get like a custom made stamp for ice. So when you got this nice piece of ice in your drink and you put your own stamp on it, melts it into it. Ashoka, water from a kettle will not freeze clear unless you are using directional freezing. It might be more clear because a lot of the air is bubbled out of the water, but water from a kettle will not freeze clear unless you use directional freezing. The only way you get clear ice like this is with directional freezing. I use filtered water because you tend to get a better result with filtered water. She says, you like ice with water in the middle. I find that sometimes when I accidentally go to get stuff out of one of my big ice cube trays and it's not frozen and I go push and I see, oh no, it's still liquid in the middle. I picked up the wrong ice cube tray and I see a bubble and whatnot. And then it freezes with this bubble in the middle of the ice. So yeah, then when you pour, you drink on it, it cracks and all that sort of thing. So nobody you know about Freestyler, it's good for testing the effectiveness and power of a subwoofer. That's actually probably true, yes. Ooh, so Kirsten, you've been tasked with getting variable ones for Christmas 22 as a gift. Nice. So we go saying the only way I get ice is directional freezing. No, you see, James, you never know what's going to come out in one of these live streams. We usually nerd out about something. Apparently tonight, it's the directional freezing from ice. You get places that specialize in making clear ice, which they sell to venues, to restaurants and bars and whatnot. And they have these huge specialty machines that actually have this constantly flowing water that accretes ice. And so there are no impurities. And they make these fuck off huge blocks of perfectly clear ice. And then they have a bandsaw and they cut it up into cubes, which they then sell to restaurants and bars. You can buy insulated ice cube trays that have this whole reservoir in the bottom. So it's the same thing. They do directional freezing. So they're insulated all around and it freezes from the top down. And the mold shape will either be a sphere or a cube or a diamond or something like that. And that freezes through that thing, but it's also down through into a reservoir at the bottom, which freezes all the impurities. And they are a little bit expensive, a little bit big, and a little bit awkward. This, an insulated coffee mug, is cheap, doesn't take up much room in the freezer, and comparatively easy to use. So another one people tell, and how I got onto this, there's a few videos on YouTube where they say, how to make your own clear ice. You get a little esky and take the lid off it and fill it with water and put that in the freezer. Directional freezing, but okay, even a small esky is large, takes up a lot of freezer space. This, not much freezer space at all. And my lunchbox that I chucked in there, not all that much freezer space. So we'll see. Nobody, when your cousin upgraded his car audio, played that song, I think the neighbors were probably glad when the song finished. Probably. That seems like something the neighbors would be glad was over. What else was I listening to today? I was listening to some Run the Jewels. I didn't even play that freestyler song. It was just stuck in my fucking head. Daniel, hello, and hello, Justin. Oh, Daniel, look what arrived today. Daniel's on Facebook. My insulated lunchbox, which was your idea. So that's in the freezer at the moment. And the next day or so, I'll find out if this actually works to make squared off ice so I can have clear ice cubes as opposed to clear ice cylinders. Actually, speaking of music and stuff that I wanted to get out of my head, I've been thinking of re-listening to the original cast recording from the 70s of Jesus Christ Superstar, because that's on YouTube Music. I checked. And because when I were a lad, I heard that so many times. I still remember most of the lyrics to Jesus Christ Superstar. And I thought, it keeps coming into my head when I'm in the shower and stuff. I thought, man, maybe if I re-listen to it, that'll help me get it out of my head. I don't know. Justin, what do I make of the Britney Spears story? I think the conservatorship has been evil as fuck, and she has been grossly abused and misused. And I, like everyone at the time when Britney had a meltdown and shaved her head, I laughed at it as much as anyone. In retrospect, that was an absolutely understandable reaction to a mind-blowingly fucked situation. Like, she was treated so badly for so long. Acting in that extreme manner was a perfectly understandable reaction to the pressure she was put under. No, Shokuju, using an insulated mug, freeze at the top quickly. It's what it does. The freezing is directional because the cold doesn't penetrate from the sides because of the insulation. Cold comes from the top down. It starts to freeze from the top down. And what that does is push all the impurities to the bottom. So only the last bit has the air bubbles and other impurities in it. And the rest of it is sexy and clear. Was that James? John English's version of Jesus Christ Superstar has been playing for you a lot lately. Oh, Small World. Yeah, see, I'm probably slightly older than you, James, so I heard the actual original cast recording. My older siblings had the double vinyl album. Nobody's speaking of Jesus Christ. Then apparently it's against Anglican Church's constitution to watch The Passion. Not sure the details, something to do with the depiction. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe because Mel Gibson's a fucking lunatic anti-Semite. That might be it. That the Anglicans aren't on board with Mel's freaky anti-Semitism and the whole fucking blood libel thing that he's worked into it. Justin, oh, you're doing a security clearance interview. Jesus, I did that once in the past. I worked for defense for a short period. Security clearances are such a pain in the ass. Such a pain. So it's come up occasionally for jobs since then. Like, oh, you want to get a security clearance? And I was like, no, honestly, I don't. Security clearances. And that was only for the most basic security clearance. Like if you actually want to get, the top secret clearance and shit, it's like, now let's just assume that's not me. I'm not going to pass your clearance for top security. So nobody, not sure too many in the church really worry about it, but it's the thing. Yeah, there you go. James, it is an interesting point with an anti-Semite making a film about the most famous Jew in the world. But yeah, Gibson is with a fairly out there Christian sect. What was funny, because I still haven't watched The Passion of the Christ. I keep meaning to, just almost, out of academic interest. But I think they're speaking Aramaic for most of it, because they thought that was authentic. It's like, that part of the world, we'll have them all speaking Aramaic and put subtitles in. And they didn't talk to the right historian, because when it came out, and the historian who actually knew that part of the world and go, they would have been speaking Greek. That part of the world at that time in history, the dominant language was Greek. They would have been speaking Greek. Like, dope. Yes, Justin, I remember they asked all sorts of probing questions for a security thing. My favorite one was they asked the drug use question. Like, have you ever used illegal drugs? And I looked at the question and thought, do you want the honest answer? Do you want me to say, no, I don't use drugs? Because you can drug test me now, because I don't use drugs now. And so no drugs are going to show up in my system. So do you want me to, I'm a little confused. Does it make your life easier if I lie and say no, and you can drug test me and they'll back that up because there'll be no drugs in my system? Or do you want the honest answer where I went, well, yeah, in my 20s. What sort of boring fuckwit doesn't do it? No judgment for anyone who's never done drugs. So I actually answered honestly and said, yes, I have, not for a long time. And so then they had to do a follow-up question like, oh, what have you done to do it? Like, what do you mean? It's just like, I'm not 20 anymore. And when I was saying, staying out of tempting situations. Yeah, I don't go to raves anymore, okay? I stopped going to raves 30 years ago. So Shoka, Jesus Christ Superstar's got 3 million views on YouTube. Nice. Yeah, that's what I thought. But no. I started off slamming anyone who doesn't do drugs. There's nothing wrong with never having done drugs or alcohol. And it's actually a really shitty attitude to harass people who haven't done drugs or alcohol. I mean, surely some people who've never done drugs or alcohol are actually dicks. But then again, some people who do lots of drugs and lots of alcohol are complete dicks. Well, that's an interesting question, Abigail, for a show. What production of Jesus Christ is? I'm just going to look up YouTube. I've been looking at a lot of Don Rickles videos today, actually. Jesus Christ Superstar. Original 1970 cast recording, 3.5 million views. So that's it. The whole album, 1.5 hours, is on YouTube, 3.5 million views. That's the one I want to listen to, the 1970 original London cast recording. There's a bit from when Tim Minchin was Judas. He'd probably be a good Judas. Oh my God, you can rent that trippy hippie movie from the 70s on YouTube. I saw that at the cinema more than once. The movie was really funny. So they got clips from the 70s movie all over the place. They got clips of Tim Minchin playing Judas. There's a bit from the Australian 1992 version. Who's in it? John Farnham, Kate Sobrano, Angry Anderson, John Stevens. Yeah, there's lots of individual clips of the 1973 movie. But yeah, you can get the whole album. I think because I've got YouTube Music on my phone. I just listen. How much do they charge for the movie? You can rent the movie for $4 standard definition or $5 high definition, or buy it for $10 standard definition and $12 high definition. Man, that movie was that was a weird fucking hippie trip, that movie. Abigail, you watched the Tim Minchin one, the whole show on YouTube during lockdown. Nice. James, I remember the Kentucky Fried Movie. Which bit of the Kentucky Fried Movie you talking about? Because that was one of these really fucking weird video releases in the 80s, where it was kind of like rapid fire sketch comedy and spoofs. There were a couple. Kentucky Fried Movie was probably the best that I saw. There were a couple along similar lines, because you got like the first of those spoof movies that I remember was Airplane, which was released as Flying High in Australia, which was the spoof of the airport movie. And then there was a whole rash, it's like in the 90s and noughties, they wouldn't stop making them, with Scary Movie and all the other ones. So, Ashoka, you watched the 1982 version when you were 10 and your mother was horrified. Oh. Was that because she wasn't religious, or she was very religious? Because I remember the religious establishment did not like Jesus Christ Superstar in the 70s. Not least because Jesus Christ Superstar is basically from the point of view of Judas. It was like, you're all sort of, why did Judas betray Jesus? And so it's basically from his point of view, with what he saw wrong with what was happening, which is, why he did the betrayal. James Airplane, too damn good as a parody. Oh, no, you definitely don't need to have seen the original Airport movie to get the comedy. And I think that is the ultimate mark of why Airplane or Flying High is fucking genius, because you don't have to have seen the movie it's parodying to find it really funny. And I laughed at it a lot. Um, we all think of our favorite bits of airplane flying high, depending where you are. Lloyd Bridges and his kind of thing looks like he picked up the wrong day to give up coffee. And there's wrong day to give up smoking, wrong day to give up drinking. And then he gets to the stage where, whoa, looks like it's picked the wrong day to give up sniffing glue. Oh, dear. And that ridiculous joke. They keep reporting on it's like, Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious. And stop calling me Shirley. It's like, there's such ridiculous jokes, and they're still funny. And saying things like, they're on the plane, and the guy's really tense in his seat as the plane takes off, and the sweet little lady next to him says, "Oh, are you nervous?" And he said, "Yep, I don't like flying." And she says, "Oh, is it your first time?" And he goes, "No, I've been nervous lots of times before." She's like, fucking hell. That's an interesting thing you raise, Ashoka. People who've never done drugs and alcohol having an opinion about drugs and alcohol. That's interesting. I remember a column Hunter S. Thompson wrote. And he started with a quote from Coleridge. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree. And the folklore, and I think this was Coleridge himself who said that, is that poem, he just wrote in one go, coming down off laudanum, which is drinkable heroin. So he was off his chops when he wrote this epic poem. And Hunter S. Thompson was quoting on the anti-drug hysteria in the US in the late 80s, early 90s. He's particularly picking on the Attorney General, Ed Meese. And he's saying, like, who's never going to write anything as good as this? Ed fucking Meese. And he's basically saying, the squares who don't like drugs don't understand the creativity that can be unlocked, which, again, Hunter S. Thompson, not really a reliable person to talk to because he was a real fuck up. Justin, what drug question? What if you take a substance that isn't technically a drug? Do you mean something that's not illegal but is still perception altering? So nobody, your view of Judas shows his friends knowing the betrayal to come. Christ was born to teach and be crucified. Judas did what had to be done. There is that. And that's actually in some of the lyrics in Jesus Christ Superstar, that it's predestined to happen. James, what about the opening of Billy Madison, where he hallucinates a penguin? We're supposed to believe that he went on the trip just drunk because Census didn't want drugs in the film. Yes, I actually saw that not that long ago, and I found it really stupid. Drugs in movies or video games can get you a really harsh rating or even, a banning really quickly. I have to admit, I still have a soft spot for Train Spotting. I read the book as well, the Irvine Welsh book. Probably like the movie more than the book. The book was good, but I don't know. It's like that the actors in the movie were so personable. Ewan McGregor and Johnny Lee Miller and Robert Carlyle, not personable, but absolutely fucking terrifying as the psychopath Bigby. Good. Justin, you mean... Sorry, what did you say? Take something that isn't advertised as a drug but commonly used as one. Again, if you're using something in the way it's not intended to. Okay, for instance, whipped cream bulbs. You're meant to make whipped cream with them, but they have nitrous oxide in them, aka laughing gas, and they're regularly used recreationally. Depending where you are, they're called colloquially called whippets or nags. And I've seen some media that was hilarious in its reefer madness paranoia. Like they're going, "Oh, look what we found in schoolies. It was like a whole sort of box of nangs." And it was like, like a dozen, because they come in, how many? It's half a dozen? So long since I bought them, I don't remember. Funny thing is, I was planning on getting it's called an ISI whipper, the thing that makes whipped cream for cocktails, because you can do some really fun things with foam for cocktails. And so I'd be buying nangs, but using them for their intended use, making whipped stuff. But yeah, it's like one of the commercial channels. Schools. Oh, look at all just substance abuse going on. Look at all the nangs, and it was like about a dozen nangs. I was going, oh no, someone was slightly high for a couple of minutes, because that's the other thing with the nitrous in nangs, it wears off. One of them will wear off within 30 to 60 seconds, like wear off completely. And it's just like the reefer madness shit they were trying to pull was really weird. James, do you think movie gay characters breath of life? Are we talking about Train Spotting now? Because I thought the actors did a wonderful job in the movie Train Spotting. And also, that was Danny Boyle's direction was very good as well. So, Ashoka, a small amount of Coca-Cola is good for digestion if used appropriate as medicinal. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Bring back the original cocaine formula of Coca-Cola. Then we'll talk. Yeah. No, James, I agree. The book's good. I read the book. I like the book. But the actors in the movie and Danny Boyle, the director, did such a good job. It's like it's its own thing. They did a really good job. They're all very good. So, man, that must be really fucking old now. Like me, really fucking old. I feel compelled to look it up. Terrain Spotting 96. Jesus Christ. That's 25 years ago. No wonder Ewan McGregor looks so young in it, because it's 25 fucking years ago. Jesus. Wowzers, 25 years, honestly. That's true. Nobody. Too much water can kill. Too much water can make you drunk. And that's the thing that's been witnessed, particularly when people are being told they have to do like a urine test for a drug test at work, and they're too nervous to piss. And so they keep getting told to drink water, and they actually drink too much. And it's very equivalent to being drunk, and it can kill you. So human physiology is fucking weird. Justin, did I hear the story about party wear? Many people. Oh, yes. Yeah, that was the thing in New South Wales, one of the big super spreader event, a party in Sydney. There's like 20 people there, and the only 6 who didn't get COVID happened to be healthcare workers who were all vaccinated. Go vaccines. But yes. Choking on Ashes. Hello, by the way. You read the book? I read a couple of Irvine Welsh's books. I don't mind his writing, actually. Okay, for instance, I also read another one that had been turned into a film, Filth. And yeah, the movie didn't do it for me. And that had James, what's his name? Who plays young Professor Xavier in the later X-Men movies. He's the lead. Yeah, the movie didn't do it for me. I thought the book was better. But yeah. Is that what it is, James? It throws off the electrolyte balance. You need salts to find yours. Yeah, and it fucks you up. If you drink too much water, it'll fuck you up. Thank you, James. James McAvoy. Yes. Yeah. He's the lead in the movie Filth. It's not a terrible movie, but as I said, comparing it to Train Spotting, where I think the actors did such a good job, they made it its own thing. Filth just didn't work for me as a movie. It's not terrible, but the book's much better. Oh my god. Okay. The portrayal he did in the movie Split is problematic. M. Night Shyamalan movies are problematic. Yes. It's like M. Night Shyamalan is using sort of multiple personality disorder as a starting point and goes to a truly nonsensical and fantastical angle with it. But yeah. So check on actually about to visit a friend in the psych hospital. It's the one that you were in. I hope it's okay. That sounds very stressful. So I do hope you're okay. Thank you. That's the current term, Abigail. DID, dissociative identity disorder. Yes. Yeah. And to be fair, what they're portraying in that movie Split is not really. It's using the diagnosis of a dissociative disorder as a starting point to come up with a quite silly and fantastical storyline. But yeah. That's a good quote, James. Who said that? M. Night Shyamalan uses movies as house payments. I've actually heard actors say that when they worked on something and they didn't particularly like it. And an interviewer says, would you do a sequel? And they go, I don't know. Maybe if I needed a new house. It's just like saying, like, I did not enjoy that, but if someone gave me a metric fuck ton of money, I'd rock up. I'd rock up for the payday. And I did see this interesting thing the other day. Ricky Gervais, disclaimer: Ricky Gervais is a piece of shit. Has some redeeming qualities, but he's broadly an entitled, self-absorbed, willfully ignorant piece of shit. But he's saying how he has been offered £5 million to do private parties, whether it's wedding receptions or whatever, and he's turned it down because he just says they're shit gigs and I won't enjoy myself. And he says he feels a bit guilty about it as well. It's like, well, because he actually supports a range of charities. Yeah, he's actually very pro-animal. He's a vegetarian and supports a bunch of pro-animal charities. And he does say, well, I could swallow my pride and do this private gig for one night and get 5 million quid and donate it to a charity. But I just can't bring myself to do it because I won't enjoy it and I'll feel like shit after doing it, which I found interesting. That's a nice positive attitude. Check on Ashes. You're going to be okay. Or making complaints about them. They're all incompetent. Look, it's very fraught when you get into any sort of healthcare, mental health care in particular. You get some people in the institutions who are very good and very dedicated, and then you get some who are really bad. And it is this worrying thing that You worry that some people are attracted to particular lines of work because the people they're dealing with are quite vulnerable. It's kind of like, teachers, particularly teachers of younger children. Um, you get people who take up teaching because they have the highest ideals, and they want to help kids and they want to do good things, build the future and all that. But there's no denying there are some people who go into it with a real exploiter mindset, and they're really gross and awful and horrible. What are you going to do? We're very bad. We're very bad at picking that ahead of time. And a lot of the stereotypes about what an abuser and a groomer and a stalker and a bad person is, a lot of the stereotypes about what that sort of person is are completely wrong. So I'm glad I'm just working in a really self-centered world where no one questions my motivation, because my only motivation for doing my job is getting paid. Just getting paid. So no one thinks I have an ulterior motive. It's like, wait, because there's no one vulnerable in my line. Well, that's not really true, but I'm not in a line of work that specifically involves vulnerable people. It's like, what's this guy's ulterior motive for taking this job? It's getting paid, bitches. Doing this job to get paid. So James is saying, when it comes to care of mental health, it's an incredible, inconceivable nuance to care and diagnosis, hard to whittle it down to science. Yes, and I actually think you're making a very good point there. The variables, there are so many variables, it's very hard for the most careful diagnosis to be right, because it's just weird. So check on actually. Oh yeah, you're talking about decision makers, victim of a few crimes, including assault and sexual assault. Yes. Oh yeah, no. And see, and again, okay, and this is where the difficulty comes in, because of course a lot of people dealing with mental health challenges aren't good at identifying reality, and some people with particular conditions will deliberately falsify things. They're a minority, but it happens. But then you get decision makers who can be in the position where they, by default, don't believe the patients in care, and they, by default, defend the workers. The thing is, it's complex. It's really, really complex, and there's absolutely no question. People like the administrators, at least on occasion, make terrible decisions, absolutely terrible decisions, and not necessarily out of malice either. It's just a really fucking anything with humans is complex. Basically, us humans are very weird, strange, and complicated, and difficult to work out. And yes, James, you are right that people can see things through their own lens, even if they're not actually lying or whatever. Their own perception colors what they see. Circulation, one of the psychiatrists thought you'd invented the Alpha Course. Didn't even Google it when others told him. Yeah. No, it is unfortunate. Some people can be very insular and very locked into a way of thinking. I just have this desire to eat one of my Luxardo cherries. Just while I'm drinking water. This is actually meant for cocktails. I just have this feeling I want to eat one of them while I'm drinking water. Come on. I'm going to spear one. My little cocktail spear. I'll maybe stir it into my water. Get a teeny bit of cherry flavour in my water. Oh, James, we nerd out about shit all the time. See, we nerd out about different things. I was nerding about ice for one thing. Now we're nerding about mental health. Other times we'll nerd out about science fiction. Sometimes it'll be about actual science. That's what I like. That's what I like about the streams. The conversations. It's impossible to predict where they're going to go, and because we have a bunch of different people come into the streams, people with different experiences and different expertise, and we just fucking go off. I don't know why I had the uncontrollable desire to eat one of my cherries, but I did. I mean, one of the reasons is because they're really yummy. And I know they're really yummy. Ashoka, prisons in Norway are like psychiatric hospitals, but better. There are various parts of the world that seem to do a very good job with prisons. The majority of the world does a very bad job with prisons, but some places seem to do well. Kirsten, movies and TV. Movies and TV do so many bad things, honestly. And I love movies and TV, but they do bad things, and they give us bad preconceptions. That's the thing we nerd about. Yeah. Oh, yes, booze nerding. We haven't done any booze nerding today, Kirsten. But, we've got to mix it up a bit. Oh, thanks, James. Glad you think I make a good curator. We bounce between subjects, keep the conversation alive. Try to, yeah. And it's because it's impossible to predict where the conversation is going to go. So I just like to roll with it and see where we go. But yeah, we do. We definitely cover a lot of topics, and yeah, it's just because people have their own experiences and their own expertise, and so we tend to nerd out about something. Shaky, I think there's some good YouTubes on Norway prisons. Maybe that's the one I've heard of. It's really weird. Okay, so being someone who's experienced being on the receiving end of crime, actually nothing too severe on my cases, but being close to people who have or their families have been on the receiving end of very nasty crimes, I very much understand the desire for retribution, but it's very short-sighted as well. Nobody, you're going to do the fuck off ski? See you around, man. Maybe on Thursday. I'll be back on Thursday. And if I'm here on Friday, it's probably going to be very noisy because of the 21st birthday in the next room. And on Saturday, at Abigail's place. So fun times later in the week, actually. Kirsten, you're doing end of financial year stuff. Exhausted, so no nerdity. Actually, I did have one question for you today, because all the people who like distillers and head distillers, and they end up being molecular biologists, and people get masters in distilling and whatnot, which I assume is a uni thing. How long is the I guess the qualification period to be a distiller? This is something that just occurred to me, and I meant to ask you. So, not nerding too hard, but just like if someone's getting qualifications as being a distiller, how long does that usually take? This is just the thing that popped into my head, and I was just wondering. You can answer questions. Nice. So, Shoka, your summary is Norway treats criminals like sick brothers and sisters, which is nice. I think it's a really complex issue. And I think there are some simple truths in that, namely, the majority of the world handles crime, punishment, prisons very badly. because it focuses on the punishment and retribution and completely glosses over the fact these people are going to re-enter society. And if all you've taught them is people with power can do whatever they want, that's a really bad lesson to give people. So, which is why you get recidivism, because you're just teaching people lessons. Exert power over people who are susceptible, and you can do whatever you want. So, but I also acknowledge it's really complex. So, I wouldn't presume to present solutions to how badly most of the world handles crime and punishment. But I think there are a lot of people who can, if you do a little bit of research, because the focus on punishment and retribution, while being cathartic and understandable, is incredibly short-sighted and just perpetuates cycles of violence. So, because you're saying to be a distiller, qualification takes 3 exams, but you can just do it practically. Safety says supervisor's best. Nice. No, I was just wondering, because from the stories you've told me, so many of the distillers in Australia are such fucking smart people, basically. Earthcrow, hello. So yeah, James, you're right. The fucked up prison systems in most of the world teach the lesson: gain power, and then exert your power over people with less power than you. There was a deeply unsettling movie made in Australia, late 80s, early 90s, called Ghosts of the Civil Dead. It was about prison. I'll look it up when it came out. It's 1988. Okay. It's a very unsettling film. The cast was some professional actors. Nick Cave was in it. And some of the people appearing in it were criminals, people who'd been in prison, like violent offenders. In some cases, lifelong repeat offenders, recidivists. But it was basically trying to show you how the prison system is an endless cycle that makes people worse. And in fact, it posited the view that people in power had vested interest in actually perpetuating violent crime because it consolidated their hold on power if there were scary criminals doing scary things. So this system that created violent psychopaths actually served the people in power. But it was a very unsettling film. It was a very unsettling film. So, Kirsten, you're saying so many distillers have chemistry degrees, science degrees. One of your distillers is a lawyer. Another one didn't finish high school, but he's super practically, mechanically minded. And that, yeah, and that's also a big part of it, because of course distilling, the machines and the things is a very mechanical process. It's a bit of a laugh. Hey, I haven't plugged the Behind the Bastards podcast for a while, for 1 or 2 streams. I was listening to it today, and Robert Evans was joking about how in high school, you know, him and his friends had a still, and they were making hooch, and it was an illegal still, because I think in most of the US, it's illegal to have a still in your home because they're dangerous. Stills are basically pressure bombs, and Robert Evans was joking about his still was put together when they were drunk, so all the welds were leaking because they welded it when they were drunk. So when they had a distillation going, bad welds under pressure were spraying out um, vaporized 95% alcohol. And so shit would burst into flames on the regular. Um, that's also a good saying, Kirsten, for your mechanically minded distiller. It's only broken if Drew can't fix it. Nice. I like that. I like that. But yeah, distillation's fascinating here. Oh, I get it. Kirsten, it's illegal here too. Stills are for but you can buy them. You can fucking buy stills. I've seen it online. I had to discourage Aidsy from trying to make his own moonshine because I'm sure he would actually fucking kill himself and burn his building down. But yeah, you can buy stills here and all the distilling equipment. So that's the thing you say. If you've got a still in your home, it's for distilling water. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've mentioned before I was at a party and the guy had this liqueur there, which was exceptionally good. But he made it at home. He was like distilling, starting with a 95% alcohol and diluting that down into a liqueur. But yeah. Yes, Kirsten, I accept. If I get a still, it will be for distilling water, not hooch. James, you want some Aidsy moonshine? He was at one point he really wanted to look into it. I was like, dude, no, fucking no. First, okay, they're a little bit expensive, and I am not fucking giving you any money to buy a still because you will blow shit up. There was a very funny video. One of the biggest YouTube cocktail channels is called How to Drink. The guy lives in New York, not necessarily New York City, but he's in New York State. Greg, and he bought a still from eBay. He lives in an apartment, condos. Americans always call them condos. It's an apartment building or a townhouse or something. And he bought a still from eBay or fucking Amazon or something because he's going to go, I'm going to make my own gin. And then he got it and started to look at the instructions. And then he made a video where he admitted he was too scared to use it. Choke on a Nash, as you're heading out. I will be heading out soon. Thank you so much for dropping by. Lovely to see you. Hope you stay well. Hope to see you again soon. But he's going back to Greg. He bought this still, and his whole thing was like, I'm going to make my own gin and try it out. And then he just was reading the instructions, and he's like, yeah, this is just a pressure bomb. And if I do something wrong, I will cause a significant explosion in my condo, which is not going to end well for anyone. So I'm not going to do this. It was just hysterical when he's like, oh, yeah, I said I was going to do it. Here's the still. And then I looked into it and went, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because it might explode. Because it's really fucking dangerous having alcohol under pressure like that. But it's just one of those things where you go like, oh, yes, this is hashtag potential bad idea. Also, Charlie wasn't here tonight. I needed to tell him the bad decision juice video, which I uploaded yesterday on my cocktail channel on YouTube, is like the most popular thing I've uploaded in the last month. So I need to tell Charlie that bad decision juice, really low res video because it's a download from the live stream. And it's been really popular. People think it's really funny and enjoy it. So that's a plus. Never know what people are into. Yeah, so people seem to be enjoying the bad decision juice video. So Yay. And I mean, it's a question of scale. It's still a small but growing channel, the Angry Cocktails. But I'm in it for the long game. I see a lot of people started doing cocktail stuff during lockdown, and I don't think they've got the staying power. So, whereas I have patience, I kept a fucking YouTube channel going for 15 years. James, discount forget me shot. Actually, I think again, Greg from How to Drink tried to recreate the forget me shot from The Simpsons, because he does a lot of videos that are trying to recreate drinks from TV shows or video games or whatnot. It's a fun one. He made one, the cyberpunk drink, the Johnny Silverhand, because it was referred to in an early release bit of in-game footage. And he was like, oh, what do they say is in that? And so he made a drink sort of inspired by how they described it in this footage of the pre-release game. And, it was like an improved Johnny Silverhand. And it looked different to how it looked in the game. And they ended up remodeling how that drink looked in the game, so it looked like the one he created for his YouTube channel, because they really liked that he sort of took this little thing they mentioned and ran with it. That was kind of cute. Earthquake, you got your second Pfizer yesterday. Nice. Realized yesterday you were upping up a month early, so they gave you second round because the appointment was too far away. Oh, well, that's good. Fully vaccinated. Nice. It will be another 6 weeks before I'm fully vaccinated, because I am Team AstraZeneca. 12 weeks between things. Yeah. Oh God, didn't actually do that, James. To glitch out and end up passing through another excretory passage. Yes. The Cyberpunk game was pretty fucked by all accounts. So, I tell you, there's one thing. I saw some videos on YouTube that were basically saying how shit the Cyberpunk game was compared to like games released 5 years ago, like Far Cry 5 or whatever. Just like with environment destruction and whatnot, like if you shoot a car or shoot a window and whatnot, games that were released 3, 4, 5 years earlier were apparently so much better than. I haven't played Cyberpunk, so I don't know. Like these videos, what they were showing on YouTube, which what they claimed was how shitty Cyberpunk was. I don't know if it was right, because it would have been very easy to fake that, namely just by playing the game on too low a resolution. But I was looking at these videos going, if this is real, this is a fucking travesty, because just repeatedly showing games that were 3, 4, 5 years older than Cyberpunk and didn't have the hype that Cyberpunk had, and virtually every element of these games was better than what this guy was showing of the Cyberpunk game. It's quite ridiculous. If that was real, like I said, I was a little bit dubious, because what this guy was showing is that Cyberpunk was exceptionally bad. And I thought, is it really that bad? I don't know, because I'm not playing it. And it would have been too easy to fake the videos. But man, if it was real, the Cyberpunk game was very bad. I mean, I've been replaying Far Cry 5 because it's fun. It's fun shooting up all the loonies from the Doomsday cult. And yeah, James, the being driven by a deadline rather than the finishing of the game was clearly a mistake. But I still don't know how they managed to fuck up Cyberpunk so much because they worked on it for so long. In fact, actually, speaking of games, there was a Steam sale on, and they had the Mad Max open world game on sale for less than $8. So I bought it because multiple people have told me the Mad Max open world game is really good. So I might play some of it this weekend. I probably won't play it before the weekend, but I might. Anywho, it's bedtime. It's 10 o'clock. I'm going to bed. So I want to thank you, fine people, for spending some time with me. And I hope you have a good time. Until I see you again. I won't be on tomorrow night because I'll be having like a TV viewing night, sitting on the lounge with Mrs. Angry. I like to do that a couple of times a week. Tomorrow night's one of the times. But I'll probably be back on Thursday night. Then I'll probably be on Friday night. If I'm on Friday night, it will be noisy because there will be a 21st birthday party going on in the next room. And on Saturday night at Abigail's place for a birthday stream. So that will be fun. So go team. And I think I probably should come over to your place early, Abigail, so we could work out how the fuck to set up the stream. Because you know how to do shit like that, and I don't know what your setup is. We'll have to work out how to do that. But anyway, gonna go to bed. So thank you, one and all. Have fun times. If you're locked down somewhere, I hope you're okay. But I'm gonna go to bed. So see you all.